1. Other side of the world. A father was reading a magazine and his little daughter every now and then distracted him. To keep her busy, he tore one page on which was printed the map of the world. He tore it into pieces and asked her to go to her room and put them together to make the map again. He was sure she would take the whole day to get it done. But the little one came back within minutes with perfect map. When he asked how she could do it so quickly, she said, "Oh, Dad, there is a man's face on the other side of the paper. I made the face perfect to get the map right." She ran outside to play, leaving the father surprised. Moral of the story: there is always the other side to whatever you experience in this world. Whenever we come across a challenge or a puzzling situation, look at the other side. You will be surprised to see an easy way to tackle the problem. 2. Ice cream. A 9-year-old boy went to an ice cream shop. "Waiter, what do you want?" "Boy, how much a cone ice cream costs?" "Waiter, $2. Then the boy checked his pocket and asked, "Cost of small cone?" Irritated waiter angrily said, $1.50. Boy ordered a small cone, had it, paid bill and left. When the waiter came to pick the empty plate, tears rolled down from his eyes. The boy had left 50 cents as tip for him. Make everyone happy with something you have. That's life. 3. The Trooper and His Horse. Once, a trooper lived in a country. He worked in the king's army and was very famous for his bravery all over the kingdom. The trooper had a beautiful horse, which was one of the best in the country. The trooper loved his horse a lot. One day, when all the soldiers were dressing their horses, the trooper noticed that a nail on one of the horse's shoe had fallen off. Since the trooper was tired, he decided to repair the shoe nail later. His fellow soldiers advised him to end the shoe nail soon, or it could become dangerous. The trooper did not listen to them. After some time, the soldiers heard the sound of the trumpet. The enemy had attacked the king's palace, and all the soldiers went to fight. The trooper also sat on his horse and went to fight the enemy. On the way, the horse's loose shoe fell off. He stumbled and the trooper fell on the ground. He was badly hurt and could not get up. An enemy soldier killed him with a sword, immediately. Moral of the story: a stitch in time saves 9. 4. The Peacock and the Crane. One day a peacock met a crane and said, "So sorry for you. You have so dull feathers. Look at the fine colors of my feathers." "Well," replied the crane, "your look are brighter than mine. But whereas I can fly high up into the sky, all you can do is to strut about on the ground." Moral: never find fault with others. 5. Glass of milk. One day, a poor boy selling goods from door to pay his way through school found he had only one thin dime left, and he was hungry. He decided he would ask for a meal at the next house. However, he lost his nerve when a lovely young woman opened the door. Instead of a meal, he asked for a drink of water. She thought he looked hungry, so brought him a large glass of milk. He drank it and asked, "How much do I owe you?" "You don't owe me anything," she replied. "Our mother has taught us never to accept payment for a kindness." He said, "Then I thank you from my heart." As Howard Kelly left that house, he not only felt stronger physically, but his faith in God and man was strong also. Years later, that young woman became critically ill. She was sent to the big city hospital, where they called in specialists to study her rare disease. Dr. Howard Kelly was called in for the consultation. When he heard the name of the town she came from, a strange light filled his eyes. Immediately he rose and went to see her. He recognized her at once. From that day he gave special attention to the case. After a long struggle, the battle was won. Dr. Kelly requested the business office to pass the final bill to him for approval. He looked at it, then wrote something on the edge, and the bill was sent to her room. She feared to open it, for she was sure it would take the rest of her life to pay it. Finally, she looked, and something caught her attention on the side as she read these words: "Paid in full with 1 glass of milk." Signed, Dr. Howard Kelly. Tears of joy flooded her eyes as her happy heart prayed, "Thank you, God, that your love has spread abroad through human hearts and hands." 6. Smartest man in the world. A doctor, a lawyer, a little boy, and a priest were out for a Sunday afternoon flight on a small private plane. Suddenly, the plane developed engine trouble. In spite of the best efforts of the pilot, the plane started to go down. Finally, the pilot grabbed a parachute and yelled to the passengers that they better jump, and he himself bailed out. Unfortunately, there were only 3 parachutes remaining. The doctor grabbed one and said, "I'm a doctor, I save lives, so I must live," and jumped out. The lawyer then said, "I'm a lawyer and lawyers are the smartest people in the world. I deserve to live." He also grabbed a parachute and jumped. The priest looked at the little boy and said, "My son, I've lived a long and full life. You are young and have your whole life ahead of you. Take the last parachute and live in peace." The little boy handed the parachute back to the priest and said, "Not to worry, Father. The smartest man in the world just took off with my backpack." Moral: your job doesn't always define you, but being a good human being does.